Not that long ago, it seemed like the Knicks were no better than being a second round exit again for the third straight year, but here they are now in the conference finals for the first time in 25 years after knocking off the defending champion Boston Celtics. Jalen Brunson proved exactly why he was named the clutch player of the year, and the supporting cast stepped it up too. Only 4 times in this postseason has one team had 4 guys scored at least 20 points in the same game, and the Knicks did it twice in the second round alone against the Celtics. The Celtics just didn't figure out when to stop shooting the 3 and try to get easier baskets until it was too late. They have better personnel and ball movement than most teams that live and die by the 3, like the James Harden-led Houston Rockets. Last year, living and dying by the 3 won them a championship, but this time around, that style of play backfired. Jalen Brunson was expected to be a good signing for the Knicks in the summer of 2022, but this great? No way! Brunson's definitely the greatest free agent signing the Knicks ever made, and I don't think anyone could have thought that could be said about anybody for as long as James Dolan is the owner. It's been a world of difference since Dolan stayed out of team personnel decisions. Dolan being too involved is why the Knicks have sucked for most of the 21st century, but when he's not so involved, the Knicks now have Jalen Brunson leading this team to their best 3-year stretch since the 90s and their deepest playoff run in 25 years. Brunson is officially the best Knick since Patrick Ewing. Yes, I'm taking him over Melo and not even thinking twice about it. I am wearing a Melo jersey right now, but Melo never got past the second round with the Knicks, so Brunson has already cleared Melo as a Knick. Speaking of how Brunson is proving why he was named Clutch Player of the Year, he made the game-winning shot in Game 6 of the first round to advance to the second round and averaged 8 fourth-quarter points per game for the entire second round. He, along with OG Anunoby, sparked the 20-point comeback in Game 1 against the Celtics to give the Knicks their first bit of momentum in this series. On defense, he may be the guy other teams want to target because he's the smallest guy on the court and he's not the quickest. However, he's as tough as they come and has been able to hold his own when getting targeted. Josh Hart is the ultimate role player, and we can always expect him to play his heart out. How good of a rebounder he is at 6'4" really shows for it. He can often out-rebound opposing teams' big men. He led the league in minutes this year, and thankfully Tom Thibodeau has not had to play him for an entire game without any rest this year. We saw him do it in the playoffs 4 times last year, once even in an overtime game against the Sixers in the first round, then in the first 2 games against the Pacers in the second round. For Josh Hart to be willing to do it says a lot about how much pride he plays with, but it wasn't worth it. It burned him out. Hart has been a streaky 3-point shooter throughout his career, but has been lights out in these playoffs. He's also great at cutting to the basket, which makes him a guy defenses can't ignore. Now on to the third and final Villanova Knick. For much of the season, Mikal Bridges seemed like he was not worth all the draft picks he was traded for. We owe him an apology for what he was able to do in this series against the Celtics. I don't care about his Game 1 stats. He made the game-winning play on defense. That's what we should care about. Game 2, for 3 quarters, he was completely MIA, but in the fourth quarter, he was killing it. If the Knicks at least get to the finals and Bridges is still making big plays when it matters most, I could not care less about all those draft picks being given up for him. It was worth it. OG Anunoby has managed to stay healthy this year, something he couldn't do last year, and put up a career high in points per game this year. He's played especially well in his last 21 games of the regular season, averaging just under 23 points per game. He's had his ups and downs in the playoffs, but his ups have been absolutely huge and a big reason for some of these games the Knicks have won against the Pistons and Celtics. The Knicks have not lost a playoff game in which he scored at least 20 in, and he was a big part of their comeback against the Celtics in Game 1 when he scored 23 points in the second half and overtime combined. He's also been the Knicks' best perimeter defender since his arrival in New York last year. OG is great at moving without the ball too, which seems to be a lost art in today's NBA. He always knows where to be to still find ways to score even when he's clearly not the guy that the Knicks revolve their offense around. I think we can all agree that the trade with the Timberwolves that brought Cat to the Knicks for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo Rondo last September was a good trade for both teams, with both teams in the conference finals now. However, Cat still has more to prove. He still hasn't proven that he can be the second best player on a championship team. He's only proven 2 years in a row he's good enough to be the second best player on a conference finals team. His scoring from the regular season is down in these playoffs, which has been the norm for his career, but he's still been a lot better than Julius Randle was in the playoffs while playing for the Knicks, and has taken pressure off of Brunson as another shot creator. The Knicks are 6-1 in the 7 games Cat has scored 20 plus in these playoffs. Let's get more of that against the Pacers. A big concern about the Knicks going into these playoffs was their lack of depth. Deuce McBride played exceptionally well off the bench, scoring in double digits 3 times in this series against the Celtics, while also making big plays on defense. Gotta keep this up in the next round. PJ Tucker may have only played 3 regular season games and 4 playoff minutes, and we most likely won't see him play much more than that when he's an over-the-hill 40-year-old. However, his presence has been important for the Knicks as a veteran leader who's been a champion before and has been an extension of a coach for the Knicks even while not playing. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart have both acknowledged how important his voice is to the team.
He's been great. The way he talks, the way he leads. Obviously, he's been around the league for a long time, and so he has a lot of experience. And so when he talks, we listen. And so having a guy like that on our team has been remarkable for us. And so he's been fantastic since he's been here.
Shout out to PJ Tucker for, making sure we're up, we're talking. He brought that championship pedigree to us, and he deserves a big shout out.
He's like what the Heat had in Udonis Haslem for the last 7 years of his career. Now for the Boston Celtics, who have an uncertain future ahead of them. Kristaps Porzingis was sick as the team's 3rd leading scorer. That sure didn't help the Celtics, nor did the fact that Jaylen Brown was playing through a partially torn meniscus. I can acknowledge that. Jason Tatum came into this series healthy though, and the Knicks were about to go up 3-1 anyways when Tatum ruptured his Achilles, which I wish him a speedy recovery on. They just couldn't close in this series. They led at halftime in 3 of their 4 losses and were up by 20 in both of their first 2 losses, which were at home. There are no excuses for that, period. For them to shoot 63s and only make 25% of them in game 1 and then make 25% of the 43s they took in the very next game, that's bad basketball. If your 3 is going in like it was in last year's playoffs, then keep shooting. When it's not going in though, you have to find other ways to score. Even a guy like Drew Holiday, a guy who I see as the kind of player any team should desperately want as a supporting guy to win championships, jacked up a 3 from the corner off an offensive rebound. Way to bail out Mikal Bridges for not boxing you out there. For the whole series, the Celtics shot 75 more 3s than the Knicks. That sure wasn't worth it for them. Or the Celtics allowing Al Horford to switch on to Jalen Brunson. You can't allow that to happen, but I'm happy the Celtics did. Now for the conference finals, let's hope Tibbs does not burn his team out again like he did last year. I was afraid he would do it again at the end of game 6. It's not even up for debate that the Pacers only got past the Knicks last year because the whole team was injured thanks to Tibbs running guys like Josh Hart and OG Anunoby into the ground. I am starting to rethink the idea of the Knicks needing a new head coach though, since Tibbs just coached this team to a place they haven't been to in 25 years. If the Knicks win a championship, I don't care. Give him a lifelong extension. Against the Celtics, for Tibbs to still trust Mikal Bridges in the 4th quarter of game 2 when Bridges had struggled for the first 3 quarters, and how he trusted Mitchell Robinson more in this series than against the Pistons in spite of his free throw woes, both were key to the Knicks winning this series. Playing Cat and Mitchell Robinson together more in this series was also a nice adjustment he made. Mitch's return from injury in late February has been vital for the Knicks, as they had the 8th best defensive rating since his return, as opposed to 14th for the whole season. We even saw him rotate onto all 5 Celtics on the floor in 1 possession. Going forward, let's all remember regular season head-to-head record doesn't mean that much. The Knicks lost every game they played against the Celtics during the regular season, but that sure didn't matter in the playoffs, and I'm more than happy to have been wrong about the Knicks not being able to make it to the conference finals yet again this year. A great job by the Knicks. to make it to the conference finals for the first time in 25 years, but the job is not finished yet. The ultimate goal is to win a championship, something the Knicks have not done since 1973. But first, let's take care of business against the Pacers. That's it for this video. Do you think the Knicks can reach the finals for the first time since they did it as the 8th seed back in 1999? Or do you even think they have a chance to win it all, which they haven't done since 1973? Please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. If you want to see more from me, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications to never miss out. If you're already subscribed, thanks so much for your support as always. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the team. Links to my social media are down below for my more immediate reaction to what's going on in the sports world. If you'd like to see my most recent video or the one that YouTube recommends, both are up above. Thank you so much for watching, and